Yo, what's up? We are now sitting in it's called KGM, that's the brand, and then Torres is the model, and then EVX. Yeah, so KGM Torres EVX. You haven't heard about it before, but KGM is the former SsangYong, the Korean brand, and yeah, I think they were bought by KGM or something, but they still use the old SsangYong logo. But yeah, so I'm actually doing a 1,000 kilometer challenge right now. It's Sunday morning. Well, yeah, 6 in the morning. I'm heading north towards Göteborg, and yeah, I haven't shot the 4K video in a while, and I was thinking, I think I haven't talked about how I started as a YouTuber. This could be an interesting story. And yeah, the whole, catchy. I tried to find a catchy name title, and I think that describes it. Like why I quit, or why I quit my office job to become a full-time YouTuber, right? So that's like the story I'm gonna tell you. Sorry, it's a bit rainy now, but it's somewhat hard to avoid this. And then if I don't shoot now, then it's going to be semi-busy towards the end of the challenge. And now I just left the supercharger, Himmler. So yeah, where the heck? I mean, when did it start? Around 2006. Well, where do I actually start? I was born in Thailand, blah blah. I came to Norway. That's a very long time ago. But eventually, I became interested in cars. Of course, first fossil cars. I had a Renault 5 actually as my first car, 1986 model, 1.4 liter natural aspirated engine, gas engine or petrol engine. And yeah, I don't know. No, they're coming with the iconic Ioniq 5. Renault 5 electric now. But yeah, I should get that car, right? But yeah, so that's my first car in 2001, I think, or 2000, which is 23 years ago. So I got my driver's license in the year of 2000, and then I instantly fell in love with driving. The freedom of being able to drive, was awesome. But I didn't drive that far back then because I was still studying in Gjøvik, studying to become a computer engineer. So it was 3 years of bachelor degree. So that's my background, bachelor degree in computer engineering. And after that, in 2001, I moved over to Oslo and found some job there as IT support. In the beginning, I went to this, they call it vikarbyrå, like I'm not sure what it's called. But you go to that company, and then you are then hired to another company, and that was Konkurransetilsynet, the Norwegian Competition Authority. It was mainly just IT support, but also some IT, like administration, network administration, Windows network, Windows 2000 and NT servers and stuff. And then I also, I remember when at Gjøvik, sorry, a little bit back and forth, but I was also interested in programming. However, my programming was not very structured. We didn't do test-driven development back then. It was quite messy code. I made some code when I was studying and stuff, And also when I started working at the Norwegian, Konkurransetilsynet, the Norwegian Competition Authority. My main task was, of course, IT support, but we discovered this, and there was a system there for reporting electricity prices. Yeah, and actually, Konkurransetilsynet, they were responsible for pulling data, the electricity companies. They buy and sell electricity, but then they report to Konkurransetilsynet the prices. But then I think back then it was not very common to use spot price. They use something called standard variabel kraftpris, which is they set a price and then they change it maybe several times per year. So every time they change the price, they will then report it, but it was fax-based. Yeah, they would fax it to Konkurransetilsynet, and then some dude would punch this into what was that? Into this database. What the heck was it, that database again? It was not Windows database. It was Lotus Notes. Do you guys know? Are you guys old enough to know that shit? A Lotus Notes database. It was just manual human punching with possible errors, and it was somewhat time consuming, and they had to then calculate some stuff. I don't remember how it was done in I think it was Excel spreadsheet or some shit. Yeah, so it was manual work, and I had some better ideas to at least use PHP and some web interface. Don't remember how I did in the beginning. Yeah, I figured out something at least. I had some ideas and said, hey, you know, we can do this better, right? And yeah, my boss was open for any improvements, and I made this. They call it Kraftdatabasen back then. So it was like this database. It was then implemented in what kind of database was it again? But the Microsoft database. Microsoft, yeah. No, it was SQL, of course, yeah. Not MySQL, it was one of the other SQL. And so on, yeah. Design a database. I'm also a database guy, you know. But in the beginning, my databases were, my tables were quite messy. I didn't have proper primary keys and foreign keys and stuff like that, you know, no consistency between them. That was quite messy. And I didn't have the tables in the correct form, you know, like the normalized form. But eventually I learned more, and I learned how to normalize the data and in the tables and organize them correctly. But yeah, that was my, you know, career. For many years I worked there, still being a network administrator and support, like tech support for the people over there. This is government, so very safe in the government. You cannot be sacked even if you slack. Yeah, that's pretty much how it is. Very safe. They have holidays and stuff, public holidays and sick days and whatever, you know. I remember even one time I slid on the ice. I live in, back and forth, but also jumping a little bit back and forth. In the beginning, yes, I was hired there just as a temporary worker, and the salary was somewhat low. I made around 1,200 euros per month only. That was 20 years ago, right? In 2001, yeah. But then, after that kind of temporary period was over, they called it vikartid, right? Then I applied, and I was directly hired in that company. Yeah, sorry, so I jumped a little bit back and forth. And then it was when I was an employee there, directly employee there, that I started doing the PHP and web, you know, HTML. It wasn't super advanced. There was like no JSON or stuff like that, you know. No. It was quite old school stuff. Probably lots of security holes and shit, and I would, like, man, there was so much cowboy stuff. Like, I would edit the production data and edit the production scripts there. That's not how you're supposed to do it. Oh shit! That was the dark sides, the dark times. And then also I lived. Back then also I live in the beginning, yeah, I just rented some place. They call it bokollektiv, which is that you rent basically just a room, and then you share bathroom and kitchen and a living room with maybe 2-3 other units. It was a very cheap form of renting. I would pay only, let's say, 500 euros per month. Electricity would be included, internet is included, you know, stuff like that. So yeah. So it was, that's the way I lived, on just one small room, maybe 15 square meters. I didn't have too many belongings. I was around 20 years old, and I had my Renault 5, but then I eventually sold it and purchased a Hyundai Accent 1.3 liter, 1995 model. It was a nice car, 82 horsepower, not that much torque. Maybe I think it was around 120 Newton meter torque only, but it was still a fun car to drive. Yeah, and then yeah, and that's how it was for a while, right? And I trying to remember. There's so much stuff going on. And then I stayed there at Konkurransetilsynet for I think it was 7 years. And then eventually I started as, they call it førstekonsulent. That was the title there. I think it's called higher executive officer in English. And then eventually I was promoted to advisor, rådgiver, with a higher salary. And my salary, once I was hired there directly, it went up quite a lot, and I managed to receive around 2,000 euros per month. But then eventually I think it went up to around 2,100-ish. But you know, when you work in the government, yes, you cannot be sacked, or I mean almost impossible to be sacked unless you watch porn at work or some shit. But the increase of salary is ultra slow. You know, you might get 2% per year only, something like that. You know, you go up. Sometimes you go up in lønnstrinn, like a salary step, or yeah, if you're lucky, you can get like a title change, and then you end up in a different span of lønnstrinn, right? But that's just how it went, and I stayed there for many years. I think I worked there for 7 years or something, and until at the point where they were going to be decentralized, and some stuff was going on in Kongsvinger, and then some stuff in Bergen, and they were going to actually cease to exist in Oslo. It was like something about the politics going on, that they want to decentralize government units. I was being a loyal worker as usual. Back then I was also a gamer. I played Ragnarok online. I have wasted thousands of hours. You know, I would go to my office work, take the metro from Haugerud. Yeah, I live on 42 square meter. Jumping a little bit back and forth again, but yeah, okay, sorry. First I rented various places, but then eventually I ended up at Haugerud. Yeah, a 42 square meter apartment, and my mom helped me buy it. She gave me 100,000 NOK, which was a lot of money for me back then. And then that apartment cost 900,000 NOK, which is around 85,000 euros, right? And it was nice, yeah. So I lived there. I eventually purchased a Renault, what's it called again? A Renault Laguna 1, yeah, 92 model, 2-liter gasoline engine. Stick shift, of course. I'm a sucker for stick shift, or I mean manual gearbox. Sorry, I've been talking a lot in the live stream, trying to save my voice. But so yeah, so that was my life. I'm trying to give you guys like a picture of how it started, you know, how it developed. So, but I didn't drive that much during that time. You know, I found out that Laguna, I drove it roughly around 10,000 kilometers per year only. I didn't know where the actually was to drive, right? And then I was just a gamer. So I would go to work, take the metro from Haugerud downtown, go to work there, and then come back home, and then I would play games for 10 hours or something. And I come home around 3 or 4 in the afternoon, depending on if it's summertime or wintertime. And then I just play until midnight, sometimes until 2 or 3 at night. And then I wake up 8 in the morning, fucked up, of course. And then go to work. And then in the weekends, I would just play all day. I had friends, of course. I had Morgan. I knew Morgan from Høgskolen i Gjøvik, and Eirik, and a bunch of other nice guys. But I would just mostly just go on my own gaming. Again, I had some girlfriends. I don't want to disclose too much about girlfriends. It's not like I was just a single guy. I actually had girlfriend there, here and there, but you know, that's just more like private stuff that I don't want to share with you guys. But yeah, let me see. And then yeah, also at one point I wanted to try electric bike, the one that is limited to 25 kilometers per hour. I think they call it electric assisted bike. You have to pedal to get power. And I bought one, Whisper 905 Classic, or whatever it's called. It cost around 15,000 NOK. It was an investment, but back then I had to pay månedskort, or the monthly card for metro. But I wanted to get some exercise, and I also wanted to try to save money, and I was interested in the electric bicycle, or whatever you call it. So I purchased one, and I then stopped the monthly public transportation ticket, and I was only bicycling in the summer months, at least summer months, and I think I stretched it all the way until October or November, and then I would start again maybe around March, April. And how the heck could you do that? Well, if it was cold, I would have warm clothes, and you can buy gloves, warm gloves, and you can put this inset in the helmet so you don't freeze on your head. And if it was raining, I would buy rain clothes, and also this cover you put over your shoes, so everything becomes waterproof. So I could bicycle down to work every day, regardless of weather. Yeah, and it was also kind of funny when I pedaled back home. I live, Haugerud is a bit higher elevation than downtown Oslo. Was almost at sea level, close to Rådhuset, the town hall. And on the way back, up those hills at Tveita, I would then overtake other bicyclists without the electric motor. And this was this was more like 15 years ago. And back then, I don't know what's up with Norwegians, but they didn't want to use electric bikes. Electric bikes, they were for weaklings. They were for old people who had bad knee. Norwegians, they just want to and then go for manual bike. Yeah, but eventually they also gave up, and everyone and the mother nowadays uses electric bikes or electric scooters. The sparkecykel, what they call it. But also, sorry, one interesting thing is that battery on the bike has 12 volt, this lithium battery, 12 volt, and I think it was around 40, wait, how much was it again? Yeah, roughly 40 amp hour, right? I calculated it should be around 500 watt hour total. And I even did a range test with it, and because I'm also helping to pedal, I could go almost 100 kilometers. And I calculated that it equivalent. I mean, it means that it consumes only 6 watt hour per kilometer. But then I'm going at 25 kilometers per hour only. But that was incredible efficiency. 6 watt hour per kilometer. Yeah. And electric motor is way more efficient than human. Human body is so inefficient. If you try to work hard to produce 100 watts of power, you are sweating like a pig. You are generating so much heat, Like human body is probably almost as inefficient as a fossil engine. I don't know the efficiency of a human body, maybe 50% only, or maybe lower. But interesting part is that I would charge the battery to 100% because I noticed that if I charge it to 100%, it would be quicker. So I would do that from home, but once I arrive at the office, I would also charge the battery at the office to 100%, because then it was nice and punchy on the way back, especially uphill. But that meant charging it to 100% all the time and keeping it at 100% at work, and even charging it maybe when the battery was cold when I arrived at the office. So after just 1.5 years, I think, the battery went kaput, or it had severe loss in capacity. I got the new one on warranty, but I still wonder if I killed the battery by charging it to 100% very often. And another thing is that when I was gaming back then, I played Ragnarok online, and you can have, it's MMO. I had several accounts, and I had a laptop, actually eventually 2 laptops, but I did 1 laptop running a different account, and I could actually play with myself. Yeah, lol. That's what I did, a single guy playing by myself, playing with myself. No, but I could then heal myself or give myself boost and stuff with the laptop versus the main computer. And I actually had a projector on the ceiling, and I just kept the living room quite dark. Yeah, that was when I met. Eventually, I met the wifey also, Amory, and she was like, "Dude, what the heck, man? You're playing games and you have a freaking projector, and you." I projected 100-inch on the wall, but I had to have the room quite dark. It was a BenQ projector. I had several BenQ projectors. Yeah, DLP projector. I was, you know, I prefer the DLP projector. They have some pros and cons versus the other. Don't remember what it was called again. LED projector. Wait, no. It was, but it used a regular bulb, not the LED. But okay, anyway, a little bit back and forth. There's so much stuff I could talk about. But I was saying that the laptop I used was running 24/7 because when I didn't play actively, I would then put up vendors. And it's like you cannot just go offline with a vendor. You actually have to be logged in with a vendor. But often it meant that, oh yeah, I also ran several accounts on the same. I ran several instances of that game on the same laptop, so I could alt-tab between them and run several accounts and then have several vendors. That's how it worked, right? But that meant that the laptop was running constantly at high load. And I think also I killed the battery I actually caused a somewhat high degradation of the battery because the laptop battery was running at 100% all the time. I could have set it lower. Lenovo allows you to set it lower, but back then I didn't know what was the point of setting the charge limit to 80%, right? I mean, it explained that, yeah, it will improve the lifetime of the battery. I was like, huh? How? I'll just run it at 100%. And it kept running at, and the CPU made the computer, the whole laptop hot, maybe 40 degrees constantly. Yeah. So. Okay, anyway, a little bit back and forth here. But that's maybe when I started using my spreadsheets to calculate damage and damage over time, or or calculate probabilities and when you upgrade items and damage reduction and so on, and so I was doing that. That's the way Teslabjorn was born, by gaming. And I was also eventually a leader of a guild called Happy Campers. We were not the most elite people. We were more like happy campers, happy people. We just tried to hang out together and play together. Yeah, guild is like I don't know, guild, or some people they call it maybe, don't remember on some other games what it's called. But it's like a group together, yeah. But maybe we should skip a bit because there's too much detail going on. But eventually, at one point, I purchased a diesel car with Renault Laguna, and I started driving more. And I visited my friends. I visited my friends Ida and Andreas in what's it called again? Trondheim. Yeah, and also I think it initially started like this because that work I had, the office job. I talk about that they were decentralizing it, and I was being a loyal guy, and I thought, okay, when we stay in the government, we actually get in the Statens Pensjonskasse, which means that once I retire, I get a really good retirement deal. You support the government, the government supports you when you're old, right? And also when they did all the whole decentralization, they started tearing down the office in Oslo, and it became worse and worse. Over there, it wasn't nice anymore. It was like they started tearing down offices, and I would sit in a landscape almost by myself because most people left the government or that unit. But the leaders, they kept telling the employees that if you stay longer, you will get mer. Mel, it's called mel. What the heck was that again? But it's like you get some bonus packages if you stay longer for your loyalty, and you can get we can give you some extra schooling if you want to go take higher education. I was like, oh, maybe I can become a master. take 2 extra years, go back to Gjøvik, become a master. So I also did that. Yeah, I went over there to Gjøvik. I tried to start studying on like a remote studying, but I couldn't really get back to school again, you know. Yeah, so I had to give up that, but also because that government thing, by the end of the day, they really didn't really want to support or give me any package for reschooling. So yeah, so I was just gonna eventually I left Konkurransetilsynet. I went to some other thing, Banktech it was called. Wasn't really fit in that company. I don't know, they were doing some kind of payment transaction, whatever, bank transaction thing. And then eventually I ended up at Statistisk Sentralbyrå, yeah, Statistics Norway. That's also one part that shaped Teslabjorn to be the one dude I'm today. Over there I was working in the interview section, and we use this program called Blaze. Well, it's yeah, developed by Statistics Netherlands in Herlen, and I went to Herlen a couple of times, and you know, I started driving, and I enjoyed driving. And yeah, one time we were supposed to have this coursing, yeah, in how to use Blaze. Blaze is this program, network kind of framework, whatever, based on Pascal, and it's made to create electric questionnaires. And yeah, you could fly over there, but I was like, hey, can I drive there to Herlen from Oslo? And they were like, I guess so. They could cover some of the expenses and at least cover the hotel. And then I was happy to cover the diesel and the stuff. And that was my first road trip through Europe. And I hammered through Deutschland with a DCI 1.9 liter Renault Laguna 2 from 2004. Yeah. And I could hit around 190 kilometers per hour. Oh yeah! And I started making some videos. Yeah, back then also, already when I was at Konkurransetilsynet, you know, the stuff they tore down. I was starting to get interested in photography. Initially, it was photography over there. Yeah, at Konkurransetilsynet. But then wait, how was this again? Yeah. But that was just, you know, hobby. But then over at Statistics Norway, I became more and more interested in photography, but also a little bit in video. But it was more like just a hobby. That on that trip to Herlen, I drove the Laguna on my own, and I shot the video. I had a Canon camera, photo camera, Canon IS, and I went to S2. I don't remember, man. It was a photo camera with video capabilities, 640 by 480. Yeah, video, 30 frames per second. And I shot video with that camera, and I edited with my creativity, and I made a road trip, my first road trip video. Maybe I should change it, because, I mean, I should post it one day to you guys, but I have to change the music because I use copyrighted music. Well, that was my very first road trip video. No, actually, I did a video before that. Yeah, I remember now. I went to, in the Christmas of 2006 to 2007, I drove that Laguna to Bodø. Yeah, and I shot some video there. It was more like, yeah, it was gonna, I have to tell you guys this. I got stranded with that car because I had it on the NAF control test, and they said, okay, condition is fine, but your 12-volt battery is weak. I was like, okay, what does that mean? It's like, you should replace it soon. I was like, okay, I don't know, okay, and I just kept driving with weak 12-volt battery. You guys know what's gonna happen then, right? So I drove over. It was winter. I mean, it was Christmas. I was on the 23rd of December. I was heading north to my mom, living in Bodø. It was freaking cold in Østerdalen. And around Tynset, I remember it was minus 23 degrees Celsius. I stopped there also, and around there, to Alvdal, before Alvdal, I don't remember, around there, right? And then it was fine, because the car just kept running. But then once I got down to the lowland, around Soknedal, I stopped there to have some food or some stuff. Yeah, it's interesting because even when I had a diesel that I actually managed to drive 1,200 kilometers in a single tank, I still stopped to eat and pee and whatever, right? Every 3-4 hours at least. But okay, whatever. But once I stopped in Soknedal, which was getting close to Trondheim, around 400-ish kilometers south, north of Oslo, I stopped there maybe for half an hour just to eat something, right? What probably happened was that the 12-volt battery cooled down in Østerdalen, and then when I stopped there second time, I could not start the car anymore because the 12-volt was too weak and it couldn't spin around. It couldn't give enough power to the starter motor. And I was like, shit. Well, I didn't say shit back then. But I was like, what the heck do I do? And I asked for a starter cable, and then I hooked the starter cable to someone, but then I didn't wait long enough, and then they couldn't start it. I was like, shit, what do I do then? And then I was like, wait, I heard this. You can kickstart, you can push it. Yeah, okay, so I push it, but there's not a regular ignition. It's like a start button. So I pushed the start button, and then the guys, they pushed me. I set the car in second gear or something. It was a 6-gear manual. And they managed to kickstart the car. I was like, oh yeah, great. But it seems like it was in a weird state because I could drive just fine. But after driving for around 15 minutes, further up there, before Melhus roughly, I noticed that the headlights and the dashboard became a bit dim. And then suddenly the speedometer went down to 0 kilometers per hour when I was just on the motorway. On the highway. I was like, huh? What? Boom! And then the car died. I was like, shit. And then 12-volt was dead again. What probably happened was that the engine managed to start, the electronics could run to discharge stuff, but the alternator didn't start for some reason. So I just discharged the 12-volt until it died. Yeah, that was my guess. And then I had to be rescued by NAF. I had to wait quite a long time. And then I started shooting video. Yeah, that I got stranded. Because I just happened to have the camera with me. And then I was stranded. I got rescued. And then, how was that again? Yeah, he just boosted my battery. And I think eventually I just had to make sure that I don't, I managed to continue my trip with a weak 12-volt battery, because I think for the rest of the trip I didn't encounter too low temperatures anymore, so it was fine. It was that minus 25 degrees Celsius in Østerdalen that made cool down the battery so that it couldn't deliver enough amps. But at least I made a video from that trip, and I showed it to my colleagues at work at the statistics, and it wasn't that nice. It wasn't that good video, but I think it was just the fact that it was authentic. I was stuck there, and I had my style, and was like, I'm sitting here now waiting, and blah blah, and I had some music I used there, and yeah, and people they cheered me and they said, oh, nice video, Bjørn, nice video, yeah, keep making more. I'm like, huh, really? Was that good? So that was important, that someone cheered me up and encouraged me to make more videos. And then I said, I made some more videos. I made some Easter video that I drove from Oslo all the way to Bodø in a single tank with a diesel. Yeah, I averaged around 5.6 liters per 100 kilometers. It had a 70-liter tank, and this was even during winter. And I made some, and then I went, and then we jumped a little bit back in time, and then I went to Herland, and I made that road trip video. I also visited Keukenhof on the way back. And that was basically how my video career started. But then my audience was mainly just my friends and my co-workers. So it was often like I would film some co-workers, or I would film something, and after a meeting they'd be like, yeah, and Bjørn has a video he's gonna show, and it's like fun humor internally for our co-workers or among our friends. Or sometimes I will also go on a hyttetur, they call it, like a cabin trip with my friends, and I would film that trip. And it's not super interesting for people outside, but it's more like fun for us to watch. But slowly I just developed way to edit videos, and I also edited some videos for the gaming. Yeah, I would then screen capture the games, Ragnarok Online, and also make some videos from there, from the gaming. So I developed some editing, how to edit, not super advanced, but at least I knew how to edit videos. I learned it by myself. And also in the old days, I also played around with Fast Tracker too. So I also know a little bit about sound and music. I wouldn't call myself a good music creator. I made some tracks, but they were not that great. But at least I know a little bit about audio and music. I mean, not that much music, but more like audio and how like how MIDI file works, and how when you have the sound table in the MIDI sound cards versus how mod files work, where you actually save each sample in the mod file and then you play them at different tones and do whatever effects on them, right? And how instrument actually works. You have to have several samples within an instrument to cover a broader octave span, right, or something like that. But okay, all that stuff was actually helping me create the dude I'm today, along with the gaming and the whole, playing with spreadsheets and calculating damage over time or profit by refining gems and stuff. I also played Diablo 2, Diablo 3, of course. Yeah. But eventually, I'm going to jump a little bit now. In 2022, I was kind of interested in electric cars, and then Morgan convinced me to buy a Model S. So they announced that Model S will have 500 kilometers of range. I was like, okay, great. I have been on some road trip with a diesel car before. And also I met, that's when I met wifey in Thailand, and I had a BMW 525D diesel. I went on a road trip with her also, all the way to Italy. It's the freedom of traveling and just refueling, and then you can just travel. It became a little bit expensive, of course, because that frigging BMW was so thirsty. For some reason, it was consuming 8.6 liters per 100 kilometers. And on the Autobahn, more like 10 liters per 100 kilometers. But that was the pre-LCI, it was E61. After the LCI, and from 2007, the engine went from 6 liter straight to a 4 liter. No, I think it was still, but at least they downsized to 2 liter. But I think they still call it 525. No, I don't remember. But at least the LCI engine was a lot more efficient. It would go as low as around 6 liters per 100 kilometer. But that was my last fossil car, because back then, okay, I was kind of interested in electric cars, but we had like frigging Leafs and stuff, Qt. And then Morgan was like, hey, Model S, I'm like, Back then, I was actually annoyed by the road tax, toll roads. I would visit my friends. I would drive 300 kilometers and I have to waste 300 NOK maybe on gas, but I would have to waste another 300 NOK in toll roads. And then when I heard from Morgan that electric cars did not have to pay toll roads, I was like, really? Model S? Okay. I was like, But I mean, I like my BMW, it's fossil, and it was quite expensive when it was new. Cost actually around 70,000 euros, but then it has gone a lot of mileage, 240,000 kilometers. So then, but okay, so I was convinced. I said, okay, I'll try it, and then if I don't like it, I can always bail out and sell the Tesla. But yeah, so Morgan just said, yeah, because there was like a discount. If you order before Christmas or New Year or something, you will get like 10,000-ish, 12,000 euro. No, I mean 1,200 euro discount or something. So Morgan convinced me to buy that Model S. And you guys know the story, right? I received a Millennium Falcon in 2013, November 21. And back then I still had my office job. Back then I moved over to university in Oslo. Some people even ask me, do you still work at the university? I was like, no, that's a really long time ago, man. It was like almost 10 years ago. But I had a university job and I made 27,000 NOK per month after tax, around 2,500 euros per month. And I had that apartment I paid down on and some stuff, and I couldn't really afford Millennium Falcon, but I took a chance, you know, I YOLO it. I've been taking some chances now and then, you know, some risks, and I was like, how the heck am I gonna pay? I had the house loan plus Millennium Falcon that cost 680,000 NOK, around 60,000 euros back then. But one way to do this was to go for easy bring task. Back then it was called easy bring. I already did some easy bring task with the BMW. Yeah, and then I was like, okay, you know what? Let's try it. It might work, it might not work. And I did some Nimber easy bring task, became Nimber task eventually, to just get extra money so I can pay the monthly payment for Millennium Falcon. But that meant that I had to drive. But I love driving. And also that's why then I started making some YouTube videos about Tesla, because also while I was waiting almost 1 year for Millennium Falcon to arrive, I was hungry for Tesla videos, but there were almost no Tesla videos out there. So I kept watching that video. There was some guys who made they made a trip with a Model S from LA to Las Vegas in a single charge or something. I kept watching that at least 10 times over and over again. And that encouraged me to make my own Tesla videos and also road trip videos that I want other people to enjoy. And I applied the road trip style to it, you know. But I also noticed that while I was waiting for Millennium Falcon to arrive, I made some videos. I went to the service center. Back then it was near Alnabru at Ole Devik's way. Was it called? I don't remember. But over there, whatever it's called. Near Alnabru. And those few videos I made of some, I don't know, it was some backup camera and some whatever, backup sensor, whatever. They got lots of views. And I gained subscribers on my YouTube channel that was almost not, I mean, it was basically not active at all. And then that meant that once I got Millennium Falcon, I started making road trip videos. I got lots of views and lots of new subscribers. I was the only one around there making Tesla videos on a regular basis. And then, but I still had my office job and I was still gaming a little bit, but not long after I stopped gaming completely and I just went full on Nimber task. And I would then, I would find Nimber task during the week and pick up some task, pick up items, and then usually how is this again? And then in the weekends I would drive. I would drive to work. Yeah, that's right. We actually had Shuko charging at work at the university. So I would then drive Millennium Falcon over there and work. But then right after work, I would then hammer it and go either to Trondheim and Bergen or Stavanger. Those were the most common places. And I would sleep in the car to save money and eat cup noodles to save money. And you guys know the story with the freaking doughs I transported. But it was like I was living my life there. Yeah. And this was even when I met wifey. She was living in Thailand back then and I had Millennium Falcon. So actually when wifey met me, I didn't own a Tesla. I owned the BMW. And I was doing my Nimber task and she was in Thailand and we kept in touch. And yeah, but then one day Tesla referral program came, and then fortunately I had built quite a big fan base and I had lots of supporters. Lots of people were convinced to buy Tesla. Many people initially they were skeptic to how the heck does it work, but I just traveled all over the place. I went to North Cape, I went like all over Norway. It was winter, it was minus 25 degrees Celsius. I slept in the car, you know. It's like I showed them that the car worked. I was just doing this mostly for fun, but unintentionally I show the world that Tesla or electric cars can work just fine, and many people were convinced to buy Tesla. And once Tesla introduced the referral program, I was in a really good position, and I got lots of nice help from a bunch of nice people to help me spread the word. And the deal was to get 10 referrals first, and I was the one to get first, and then I won Optimus Prime, the Model X, fully loaded. So it was like I took a risk with Millennium Falcon, and I was lucky, or the circumstances led to that I won Optimus. And then, initially I thought about selling Optimus Prime, but then I actually kept him, which was a good choice. And I did lots of crazy things with him. I feel sorry for him. I went on the off-roading and some stuff. But also, owning Optimus helped me build the channel. But then I loved driving, so then I was still on the office job, and I still kept working. Then I moved a little bit back and forth. A long story, very detailed. I mean, lots of detail. I moved at one point to Bodø and then moved back again, and stuff. But let me see. I'm trying to not make the video too long, but also, I also purchased a trailer, and I did more and more tasks with trailer, because then I could pull a lot more money from the Nimber task, and I would fill the trailer with items, and I would have to organize everything and protect them. Sometimes I damage items, and I had to purchase these carpets and straps so I would secure the cargo, because those guys who send me items, they would not secure cargo properly. I would receive a mirror not wrapped at all, and they expect me to transport that without harm. You know. Well, okay, so that's what I did. It was poor payment, because I spent so much time contacting people and negotiating price, negotiating time, pickup time, delivery time, pulling address that they didn't supply, and then pick up the item, and then drive that long ass trip, and then return the item, and then But I love driving, and I slept in the Model X. I had probably more like 50 to 100 nights sleeping in Optimus Prime during my trips, my Nimber trips. And there were times when I was almost not home. So wifey was home alone, but then eventually we got a dog, but she spent a lot of time home. But she could have ditched me and found another guy who would stay more home, but she at least stayed with me. At one point I felt like my office job was holding me back, because my channel slowly grew bigger and bigger. Also I forgot one thing. When we moved to Bodø, we still had Millennium Falcon. And then when we moved back again, we wanted to buy a bigger house, So we ended up with that other house, the old house at Alnabru. It was a big upgrade over that apartment at Haugerud. So the old house was 120 square meter, and we had a private garage and stuff, charging over there. So it was a lot better, and we really fought for that house on the bidding round. But I couldn't buy that house. The bank wouldn't give me a loan, because back then I was just in between helping my mom work, which was not really a job with a contract, and the bank couldn't just accept that. But I had a job offer at the statistics. I went back to the statistics Norway again, but it was just a temporary work for 1 year, engagement, or they call it. But at least I managed to get a loan. But my mom had to be a co-loaner, but I was basically paying for that. I just mentioned this not long time ago. But what I'm saying, keep repeating this because I also YOLO it, because I wasn't sure how the heck I was going to pay for this, but I knew that, okay, if I just go for this Nimber task in the weekend plus the office job, I would be able to pay for the house, and which I did. It worked fine, but it meant that I had to work not only 40 hours at the office, but also in the weekends spend something like 20-30 hours driving and sleeping and whatever in the car in the weekends. And actually back in the old days, wifey also went with me in many of the Nimber tasks, because she wanted to visit Bergen and Trondheim, and we would sleep in the car together. But back then we didn't have camp mode, and I would use, but you know, you can use the trick that you put the car in neutral more or less, and then you apply park brake. So then as long as you are in neutral, you are in drive mode, but then you put the car in with park mode and a park brake, and the car will not slide, and it will keep the heater on indefinitely, you know. But from time to time I would charge at Sjuko, at IKEA, for example, IKEA at Leangen, in Trondheim, because then I can get Sjuko juice, because there weren't too many superchargers. I would then have to top up to 95% at Dombås just to get over to Trondheim and then do my Nimber task, and then get some we actually have to charge on red plug a lot, get charging on the red plug 11 kilowatt, or sometimes we will be lucky and get the 22 kilowatt plug charging station. But being able to, but that garage is usually closed at night, or if I don't get there in time, then I can't get in there until 6 in the morning. So that's why I would sleep plugged in at Sjuko at IKEA. But if you're plugged in, you can't put the car neutral, and then you can't keep the heater on. Heater will only run for around half an hour before it shuts down. So what I usually have to end up doing was that I would wake up every half an hour to 1 hour just to push the brake and start the heater again. Yeah. And when I went there with wifey would then sleep in the back comfortably, and I would sleep in the front seat and wake up and kick in the heater every hour or so. But you know, it was quite tiresome, but I still love driving. I love doing that shit, and I also made some videos now and then. So that was the way for me to slowly build up my channel while still ensuring cash flow. But yeah, eventually it became Optimus Prime, and you guys know most of the story, how it went. But also at one point I felt like my channel was growing bigger, and I noticed something, which is that I gained more and more subscribers, and the income started kind of low, right? Like let's say 500, no, actually like 100 euros per month, you know, and then 200 euros per month, and then 300, 400. So I was like, wait, the YouTube revenue increases way faster than my salary at the office at the government. You know, I was talking about usually around 2 to 5% raise on average, which is barely just keeping up with the KPI, or the inflation. Whereas the YouTube almost double in income after every 1.5 years. I was like, wait a minute. If I just invest more time in YouTube, it could possibly lead into being a full-time job. So when I had the chance to renew my temporary work at the SSB, I actually said no. Yeah, and I went. That was like the Independence Day, 1st of June, or was it 1st of May? I think it was 1st of May 2017. I quit my office job for good. But then that meant that I had to drive a lot with Optimus Prime and trailer, because I had to then I had to pay my bills only from Nimber task. It was quite hard work, lots of work, but it somehow worked. Yeah. And then I also slowly built up the channel and made videos. But it was, I mean, I had to concentrate on the Nimber and the driving so much that I didn't really have that much time to make any nice videos, right? But sometimes it happened that I run out of juice on accident, and then I make a video and I got lots of views. And sometimes I would also make some Nimber road trips and get okay views. But at least I made some okay money from YouTube, from live stream donations. Yeah, I live streamed during those Nimber tasks. They were quite popular. So somehow I managed to stay alive and still pay the bills. But at one point I also noticed that the YouTube income was increasing, but I noticed that I only posted one video maybe per week, or sometimes it could be 2-3 weeks before I posted one video. So my idea was that if I post video more often, like daily, that could be useful. And also that this was roughly in 2018. They were starting to be more and more EVs out there. So then there will actually be some content I could make almost every day. So my logic was that post more often and the revenue from YouTube will increase. But that was the only income, plus a little bit of nimbering, right? I didn't have any sponsors. I didn't have, I had some donation, but I didn't have any affiliate stuff going on. But it actually worked. And actually in 2019 I stopped nimbering completely, because I realized that nimbering doesn't scale up. If you want more money, you have to, if you want to double your income, you have to work twice as much. But with YouTube, you can work smart, you can get more subscribers or something else, and you can suddenly double your income without having to work twice as hard or twice as much. But it was still not that profitable. I survived. I managed to pay my bills. It was, again, another risk I have to take by not doing it, but yeah, somehow I managed to make it work. I was creative. I was making my own range test, and I was trying to notice what people wanted to see, what gave high view counts. I had to take some risk. I had to sacrifice Optimus Prime, go for some off-roading. I damaged the car, but I was lucky to have some referral credits. I can get that stuff repaired, but I mean, it still cost me money, right? Because I could have taken those credits out and purchased something or invest in Bitcoins or whatever, who knows. So it was still, I just went all in with YouTube and it worked, but it was a risk you have to take. But yeah, so slowly I gained more and more subscribers, and fortunately Tesla introduced more rounds of referral program, so I could get more prices, which was really useful, because I also won. Not only did I win that Model X, but I also won a Model S fully loaded, which I could sell for 1 million NOK. Well, it was a nice jolt in income. But I had to pay tax for it. Same with Optimus Prime. I had to pay tax. So with Optimus and the other car, I had to pay roughly 30,000 euros in tax on each of those cars. Welcome to Norway. The reason why I had to pay tax is because they count it as income, as work that you do, because it wasn't a random pick. If it would be a random draw, then it is counted as lottery, and then it is tax-free. But somehow that's what happened, and then I used some of that money, I remember, to buy MC Hammer, but then eventually I also sold MC Hammer. You guys probably know the story better and better the closer to now we are. But yeah, well, let me see, I had to pay attention to the road also. And then what the heck happened then? Yeah, eventually after Optimus I sold him, and then I got more subscribers. I was getting I also and then eventually my income also increased. I managed to get some sponsors eventually, and also some affiliate. So my income went higher and higher over time, but it took some time. It didn't happen overnight like some other lucky people were able to do it. So but then I was like, whoa, So, you know, from going from living in 42 square meter apartment and not have much money left per month, I could suddenly spend money, and we tried to live. My wife and I, we just tried to live a different life, like a luxury life, right? We went to Lapland and stayed at the Ice Hotel, Rovaniemi, the Ice Hotel. It cost 5,000. No, it cost like 500 euro per night over there in the ice dome. We went to Kakslautnen. Kakslautnen was freaking overpriced shit, man. Kakslautnen was around 700 euros for just a basic glass dome. If you want to go for more expensive shit, you have to pay over 1,000 euros per night, right? I was like, oh shit. But we wanted to explore places, yeah. And at one point we also tried some business class ticket. Actually, right after COVID, Finnair, they were selling business class ticket for only around 2,000 euros. So we were like, okay, why not? And then we also tried some Thai Airways, yeah. But eventually we wanted to expand the house, and also we were kind of, after many years, we were fed up with the Rus. They were making so much noise, plus that we were living close to a gas station and McDonald's that was open 24/7, and there tends to be many rånere, raggere, whatever you call it. People with loud noise cars or whatever, they hang out there and they're or just, you know, we were fed up with that, and we felt like we wanted to get something bigger. And I also felt like my business was getting, I mean, I was growing out of my nest. I need more space for my test, and sometimes I borrow several cars from Marcus or something, right? Press car, and I need more space, and I don't have private space except for that small-ish garage. So that's why I ended up with that lot, and I wanted to upgrade. Once I wanted to upgrade to that place, you know, that mansion, yeah, that people like criticize me for going. I don't want to move that often, so we stayed at Alnabru, Tittutgrenda, for 7 years, and I thought about staying. I mean, I thought about even staying there for longer, like 10 years. But man, there is so much hassle involved in moving. You have to, just to sell the house, you have to have visning, you have to clean up everything and make it tidy and put something in a storage, and then clean and then move and then sell. So I don't want to move too often, man. Yes, I know you can hire someone to help you move, but you still have to pack and prepare and then unpack and organize and so, and I felt like I could afford it, but I also took a risk with a new house. But I wanted to gonna go a little bit crazy, because I knew that I could afford it, but except that I didn't foresee that when Idehu said it will take 1 to 1.5 years, it turns out that it took 2.5 years. And I didn't foresee that there would be a freaking war between Russia and Ukraine. You know, wars doesn't just happen that often nowadays anymore, right? That fucked up the economy, world economy, and the COVID happened. But actually COVID happened before that, yeah, I can't blame that. I could be a perfect F1 driver, right? No, but, so yeah, things happened. I took some risk, but I wanted to expand and make it big enough for the future, for family, but also for business, for whatever, right? And I felt like I wanted to make something more special. So we went for the pool, yeah. Because maybe I should even make a video that I also consider a little bit smaller and cheaper place, but cheaper, still over 10 million, right? I could still afford like 10, 12 million NOK loan. It was at Fetsund, but Fetsund was not that great location. It was close to Lillestrøm, yeah, but it would be a little bit far from my testing ground. And also the lot wasn't that big, and I felt like, okay, we were too close to the neighbor. And also the house plan, that was like a already built house, so we couldn't customize much. And the garage wasn't that big, and the parking lot wasn't that big, so I was like, is this really an upgrade? Okay, you get a little bigger house, but I'm not getting much of an upgrade when it comes to my stuff, my man cave and stuff. So that's why I was like, wait, that lot at Jessheim seems perfect. Location is good, Jessheim Storcenter has okay amenities, you know. It's close to my testing ground in Mjøsen. So I was like, yeah, why not? Let's build something, let's build a dream house. Yeah, but then wifey was, okay, don't blame wifey, okay? I mean, we all have our opinions, right? But she wanted to go for the Fetsund house, you know, that was Ris big. But I was not convinced. But I wanted to convince her that, that Jessheim was better for us. And one way to convince her was to lure her with a pool. But I also kind of want the pool. So yeah, so the whole pool has been kind of disputed, but guys, please don't just blame the pool, okay? Because I also went bananas with other stuff like garage and stuff that found out afterwards was not really necessary, but it's too late to blame people now, right? It has been done. What has been done cannot be undone. We can of course learn from this. But however, I should point out that I could have bought a fancy car. I've done it. I've heard about other people. I recently heard about one of my friends. He bought some German car, kept it for only a year or two, and he lost 450k NOK on it when he sold it. That's around 40,000 euros. I was like, oh shit, I feel for you, bro. So it's funny because if I would have purchased a Plaid for 1 million NOK, people would just cheer me. Oh, great, yeah, awesome, man. Oh man, congratulations. But I purchased a pool instead. And then just because they don't see the point of the pool doesn't mean that it's a useless investment, because I believe that that pool does not drop in price nearly as much as a car would. The worst investment is buying a car. I know, I purchased MC Hammer for 620k, no, 615k, and I sold him for 420. So I lost 200,000 in just 2 years, which was 100. I lost almost 10,000 euros per year, and I didn't really drive him that much. So I mean, yeah, I lost on cars I purchased. So I mean, I'm not totally. I don't know, man. What is the point of attacking the pool? Just because you guys don't see the point of the pool doesn't mean that it's pointless, right? So stop bugging me about the pool. It is nice. I'm gonna make some nice videos about the pool. And actually, I'm planning on making money on the pool, because I believe that you can actually get grid reward on pool. Maybe even if they haven't implemented yet, Tibber, I can do a trick to make money on the pool with grid rewards. Yeah. Because the pool actually has a lot of potential to hold a shit ton of energy, and I can do lots of cool experiments, physical experiments with the pool. Plus that I'm planning on losing some weight. I gained some weight. I have a little tummy now, daddy tummy, and I believe that just getting just moving around in the pool, trying to swim like an idiot for half an hour several times per week is an advantage, and it's a good way of burning calories without getting a knee damage or something. I guess you can bicycle. There are other ways you can exercise, yes, or you can just go to the gym like normal people would. But some people even have a little gym room in your house, right? So this is like my gym room, but it's just a swimming pool where I can do some cool stuff with it. So yeah, that is the whole explanation behind it. So, but yeah, so that's just how it ended up. Teslabjorn, how it became Teslabjorn, and the way I think, the way the critical thinking. Like I used to develop not electronic questionnaires for interview section, right? The experience I gotten with how you should organize things on a web page, or the IT background I have, plus maybe also the questionnaire background, and also I also used SAS. Yeah, I was also I was responsible for also doing some data collection, and also to process big data sets in SAS. You know SAS, right? It's like a statistics program, and run SAS scripts and stuff like that. But I haven't done much scripting or programming in a while now. It's been mostly just YouTube and stuff like that. But yeah, so and also I should also comment on one thing, is that some people ask me, why don't you take an office job? Well, I mean, I don't want to brag about how much I make and so on, but I mean, it is, for Norwegian, it is actually easy to find out. You can log in and find out how much I make. But I can also see who search on me to see how much I make, you know. You can also see that, yeah, who looked up on you. It's a waste of my time to take a regular 9-to-5 job. It is way better for me to just I don't know, make a video about something interesting, like the Model 3 performance I shot videos. You know, good money there. If I just have the freedom, the time to be a little bit more creative, or to be able to go on a road trip or something and do a test I normally can't do, then I can make more money. But I chose the family. This is also a little bit repetitive for the previous video, but I chose the family, and I then had to give up several opportunities to make more money. But I know this is not going to last forever. Eventually my kids will be big enough to go to school by their own, and eventually they will not want me to be around them too much. They want their own life, of course. But yeah, but it means that eventually I will be able to go back to the regular business, plus the whole partner that I teamed up with. But yeah, and I should also mention again that there are some some people who were talking about my wife. So I mean, I can't tell you to not talk about my wife, of course. We have freedom of speech, but I need to defend my wife. And okay, you said that, yeah, you know, she's been buying some expensive purses, right? Bags. Okay, fine, but I mean, is she the only woman who buys expensive shoes or bags? I hope not. But yeah, she did not work. Okay, we know that she did not work. But there are some unlucky circumstances that led into that. Plus that, okay, I admit that maybe she was a bit lazy. Okay, but okay, don't blame her. Okay, everyone can make their own mistakes, but also something about that. Not everything was within her control, and I also try. Maybe I didn't try. I should have helped her, but I was just too busy doing Nimber task or whatever. So you can blame me. And Bjørn, you were a bad husband. You should have supported her. You should have taught her Norwegian. Well, the problem was that I knew Thai, so yeah. Then I just spoke Thai with her. But other people, if there's a Norwegian guy, a Falang, he will of course speak Norwegian to the Thai woman, and then she will learn Norwegian way faster, right? But I mean, I have a plan. Once, it just depends on money and time. Once we have settled some stuff, once Axel starts going to kindergarten next year, we will have available time in the weekdays, so we can go to driving school and we can pick up the language. And actually, wifey will actually pick up lots of language from Isabel once she started talking Norwegian. Yeah, so I have plans, you know. You can just say bad shit about my wife is not working. Yeah, okay, fine, but I was also not being the best husband at times when I was away so much. But she stayed with me, and I'm gonna stay with her also till the end. But things take time, unfortunately. But I have a plan for her, so we just have to believe in people and that they have abilities to do good things. If you give them a chance and you give them the right kind of framework around them, you know, I mean, there are discussion. I mean, there are topics around here that, like a child that is born in a poor family versus a child that is born in a rich family. That rich family, that rich boy has a higher chance of succeeding in life than a poor boy. That's just how it works. You know? And in a way, you could say, yeah, that was the way for me also, kind of ish. Or I don't know. I don't know why I'm trying to even explain this, but I mean, at least those bags, they actually don't depreciate in value as much as the cars I purchased or whatever, or like the freaking DJI Mavic drone I purchased that I still have. I haven't sold it. I'm a lazy bum. I should have sold it yet. I was like thinking, maybe I can use it, but the rules about drones are so damn strict nowadays. And I was okay, whatever. Drone doesn't give me more views. It's just nice to play around with. But yeah, so yeah, I purchased some stuff that have devaluated a lot, you know, electronics and cars and stuff. And I was the one who wanted to go for the business class tickets or whatever, but I mean, that's just how it is. Like you succeed and you want to spend some money and live the luxury life, but then eventually we found out that, oh shit, we have to stop it and we have to focus on the house. That's what we did. And if we would travel back to Thailand now, we haven't been in Thailand in 2 years now, we would of course travel on economy class until things settle. Yeah, but yeah, I'm not sure what else to say, but I mean, some people are lucky and they succeed and they gain fame or subscribers, or you know, they get a big channel, they are lucky. But some people, they have to work for it, and I feel like I'm the one who had to work for it to slowly build up the channel, and I didn't try to make any shortcuts to get the channel bigger. But yeah, I still think I have a quite big reputation in the EV community after so many years, and I try to stay independent, and I try to be different than other YouTubers. And even though it might not mean I have the coolest content or the fanciest videos or the shortest videos, I at least try to make my videos useful for, you know, real world or whatever, right? So, oh shit, I have to end soon. I'm running out of battery. Okay, so, but anyway, this is a freaking long video. It was actually the longest ever, but okay, I hope this was useful for you. And also, I want to try to explain a little bit about the situation and the story behind this. It's even a way longer story. This could have been a 6-hour talk, and I would still not be able to cover all the details. You guys just see the tip of the iceberg. And also, when you criticize me for flashing too much of my life, no. You guys don't see much. I mean, there's a fraction of my life you see. Yeah. Anyway, I think that's gonna be it for now. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, thank you for watching and talk to you later.